Welcome to TDH Motorsport. On this channel, we'll be covering everything related to motorsport, let that be Formula 1, Moto GP, the World Endurance Championship, WRC, whatever it is, everything related to motorsport is going to be covered on this channel. So, welcome to our first video. Do subscribe because we're going to be producing some epic content, especially around Formula 1. So, welcome to our first video, which is regarding the 2023 Formula 1 season. Now, if you watch the 2023 Bahrain GP, apart from a Red Bull domination, the real heroes of the GP were Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso. Ever since pre-season testing, Aston Martin has shown some incredible pace, and it's been throughout all of the testing that Aston Martin have done. And if you didn't see, Fernando Alonso went from P5 all the way to P3 and actually outperformed the works Mercedes team, which included Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. So, can Fernando Alonso actually take on Mercedes F1 and beat their own engine partner? Let's find out. Ever since pre-season testing for the 2023 Formula 1 season, there has been a certain aura around the Aston Martin F1 team. Lawrence Stroll over the past 2 years has been pumping in some mad money into the Aston Martin Formula 1 team, and well, he wants to expedite the process of taking it from a midfield team all the way to the top. And probably the 2023 Bahrain GP was one of the first signs of that process actually being fulfilled. Fernando Alonso managed to secure a P5 during qualifying for Bahrain 2023 and outperformed both Mercedes works car and was only 0.2 seconds off of Carlos Sainz's Ferrari. Pretty commendable, and this is partly due to Fernando Alonso being one of the GOATs of the sport, and also because the AMR 23 is now a weird mixture of the Mercedes-AMG F1 car and the Red Bull F1 car. Aston Martin uses the Mercedes-AMG engine in their car, but their aero philosophy actually takes inspiration from Red Bull. Dan Fallows, an ex-Red Bull aerodynamics expert, has left Red Bull and has now joined Aston Martin and leads their aero design concept. And as you can see, the AMR 23 looks awfully similar to the 2022 championship-winning Red Bull RB18. But of course, Aston Martin have had to do some changes to their design or more adaptations to their AMR 23 because it runs the Mercedes-AMG power unit. So all Mercedes-AMG powertrain cars have to have this accentuated shoulder line so that they can fit the powertrain unit properly. So yes, Aston Martin have taken two proven formulas and have used them to their optimum. But what about Fernando Alonso? Can he actually take on the likes of Mercedes F1 team? Well, both Aston Martin and Mercedes F1 is actually quite similar if you think about it. Both teams have a championship winning driver, they have a young driver, they have tons of money, and even the road cars share the same engine in the form of the 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 sourced by Mercedes-AMG. Alonso had an epic drive from P5 all the way to P3, and yes, the podium was kind of aided by the DNF caused by Ferrari and Charles Leclerc, but Alonso's pace had everyone convinced that if not Bahrain, in the next race definitely Alonso would be fighting for a place on the podium. Alonso had a great feeling about the AMR 23 ever since pre-season testing, and this race proved that it has the performance to take on the big teams. Fernando Alonso was able to overtake both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell just on pure pace, and that was a very impressive feat. Yes, the Mercedes F1 team has been struggling to get to grips with the latest regulations of Formula 1, but nonetheless, the 8-time world champions are a force to be reckoned with. Now, Aston Martin has produced a car that can actually take on the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, and somewhat Red Bull. Now, the only real threat to Aston Martin as of now is the mid-season upgrade packages that these teams will be able to produce. Now, last season, if you remember, after a mid-season upgrade, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell were actually regulars on the podium for the 2022 season, and that is the only real threat that Aston Martin have. The resources that these big teams have is absolutely insane, and Aston Martin is still not on that level when it comes to those sort of resources. So there is only one way to break Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin this season. Their closest competitor Mercedes, if they bring some big upgrade packages, then well, you will see an insane fight for third place in the Constructors' Championship. Thank you so much for watching our first video of TDH Motorsport. Do let us know in the comments down below what you liked of this video, what you didn't like. I would love to see all of your comments down below and your true opinions, because this is the first time we're doing this sort of content. We will be having more hosts on this channel, more people who are more experienced, who have more knowledge about the sport. So stay tuned for that, and do follow us on Instagram as well at TDH Motorsport, and I'll catch you in the next one.